If you brought a cheap computer to save you money, you probably already paid for it, but just not at the register. Let me explain why cheap computers almost always cost you more in the long run. What's up, everyone? This is CourseFit AZ Tech Doctors, your technology doctors, and I am back with another video today. This is going to be a really good and interesting video just because a lot of people tend to go and buy cheap computers when in the long run it's going to cost them more. Sad to say, but it's the truth. Let me explain to you. So, most budget computers are built with the cheapest parts possible. And when I say that, the lowest quality hard drives, the minimum of RAM, the weak processors, the plastic hinges and cases that always tend to break, which is going to cost you a couple hundred to get fixed. They put low quality hard drives in these computers that tend to last for only a year or two, maybe not even that, before the hard drives completely crash on you, and then you have a bigger chance of losing all your data that you just put on this computer. Then once you lose data, what's going to happen? You have to do data recovery. Data recovery isn't cheap, guys. It isn't cheap. Data recovery can run you a few $100 to a few $1,000s, depending on how much data, how bad the hard drive has died on you, and basically how much you really want that data. The minimum of RAM, they always put about 8 gigabytes of RAM in these computers. That's cheap. 8 gigabytes can outrun Windows 11, but it can, but it's going to be very sluggish if you try to do multiple things on that computer at once. It's not going to run how you want it to run. The plastic hinges and cases, those things always tend to break a lot. We get a lot of computers in. We've seen a lot of laptops that have the plastic hinges that even if you try to open it, that hinge is just going to break because the little plastic pieces, the metal part that the screw go in is held by a plastic piece. That's just going to break over time. As you keep opening and closing computers, it's going to break because it's cheap. They're not designed to last 5 to 7 years. They are designed to work just as long enough that the warranty expires, and then you have to get things fixed after that warranty expires. You don't want to do that. All right? The performance on these cheap computers, they drop pretty fast. Like cheap computers usually feel okay for the first couple months of you using it, and then everything tend to just start slowing down on you. And you'll be able to tell. You're like, why is this new computer going so slow? Oh, it's because you paid $150 for it. That's why. It struggles to update the computer. You can't multitask on it because you have the minimum of hardware in that computer that can handle multiple things at once. It can't. It only can handle like one thing opening at once. If you're just going to just use that computer just to type a paper with no internet browser or anything like that, go ahead and get a cheap computer. But if you have to open up different different apps, or you have to have different tabs open inside of your internet browser, then a cheap computer isn't for you. If you have to use it for work and your work requires you to be on that computer every day for hours, cheap computer isn't for you. When it freeze, like these performances, like it will freeze with basic apps. Like if you open up Google Chrome on your computer and it's your cheap one, it will freeze up on you. Just because Google Chrome, it uses a lot of RAM as well. So if you have the minimum of hardware in those components that's in that computer, it's not going to work out for you. You're just going to run into more issues where you're going to have to call tech support, and we're just going to tell you the same thing that, hey, this computer, it doesn't have what you need. You won't be able to use this correctly. So now you'll be wasting your time every day trying to wait on the computer to load up. And then, as we all know, time is money, always. So you don't want that to happen. Then here's the part that nobody really tells you, and that is repairs are not worth it. Like the repairs on these computers isn't worth it. Nobody tell you that. If you bring in a laptop to one of these other shops, they're going to repair for you and charge you almost or over what you pay for the computer. If the motherboard fails, it's not worth repairing because the motherboard is almost the price of that computer, probably more. If the storage dies, data recovery, expensive. Like I explained, like I said earlier in the video, data recovery is expensive. So if that storage, if your SSD or hard drive fell in that computer, you might be SOL if you don't want to spend the money on that. Your screen breaks, almost half the cost of the computer, probably the cost of the computer at that point. At that point, you might as well just buy a refurbished computer of the same model, because the screen breaks, it's almost the cost of that computer. So instead of fixing it, now you're like basically forced to have to replace that computer with a new computer, which now you just spent $200 on this first computer. Now you have to go buy a better computer, and then you have to spend $600 to $700. So now you're almost going to be almost at $1,000 with buying a new with the computer purchases within the next 6 to 7 months. So just remember that. All right. Yeah, you end up buying twice. You end up just spending more money. And who wants to spend more money on things? I don't. And I know that you don't either. All right. So, cheap computer, it really creates a lot of stress. And I'm gonna tell you why. We don't talk about this enough of what cheap computers like could really stress you about. When you lose files on that computer because of the hard drive dying, it stresses you out mentally because you need those files. If you miss deadlines because the computer is so slow, or you're losing files, or the computer is dying, you start missing all these deadlines because you can't make it because your computer is not functioning the way it's supposed to function. Your school assignments is going wrong. Most parents, not most, some parents tend to buy their students a $150 laptop when they first go to college. And that one night when that student is typing up a paper that is due at midnight and it's 10:30, and you have a 10-page paper due that you really haven't even started on, you on like page 6 of that 10-page paper at 11 o'clock, and your computer magically just freaking shut down right in the middle of the paper. You literally lost the 6-page paper just because your cheap computer can't handle everything that you're doing. It really messes with you. And if you're using a cheap computer for business, I tell you not to, because you will have downtime in your business, and you don't want to have the downtime in your business. You want to always be up. All right. So the stress costs you way more than money you tried to save. It does. It really does. So I'm not saying that you need to go out and buy a $2,000 computer. No. I'm not saying you need to go out and buy a $2,000 computer. There are a lot of nice, functioning, good computers out there for $500 to $700. It's basically a mid-range computer, upgradable RAM and SSD, and it's basically a business class or refurbished quality machines. So we do sell refurbished machines for businesses, and we offer a year warranty on them. For businesses, we usually offer about 1.5 to 2 year warranty on them, depending on how many they purchase. But when you buy these machines, these computers, you always want to make sure at least you have the 16 gigabytes of RAM. I say minimum 256 gigabyte of SSD storage. If you do a lot much more pictures and documents and all that good stuff, you probably want to have a minimum of 500. But the good thing about these computers, with some of them, except some of the Apple stuff, you can't upgrade storage or SSDs in Apples. I mean, you can't upgrade the RAM or SSDs in Apples, just because majority of them now are soldered onto the motherboard. So once you purchase, you kind of like there right now. So with the Windows computers, you can purchase a nice Windows computer with 16 gigabytes of RAM, 500 gigabytes storage, an i5 or i7 computer, and that will be great for you. It'll work perfect. And then if it doesn't, you can always upgrade the RAM in those computers. You can always upgrade the SSDs in those computers, so you don't have to be spending so much. But when you buy these cheap computers, you're always going to run into issues with them. All right. So, I mean, literally with us, we see it all the time when people bring in cheap computers and want us to try to fix them. I'm like, hey, this is gonna cost you way more than what you pay for this computer. We will fix it if you want us to, but I'm just letting you know the pros and cons of you fixing this. Um, so if you're thinking about buying a new computer, or you're wondering if it's worth upgrading, bring it in to give us a call, and we will literally give you our honest opinion on what you should do. All right. Please like, subscribe, comment to this video. Well, comment on this video. Let us know what you think. Let me know if I missed something. But I'm pretty sure I covered why buying cheap computers is not the greatest thing to do. But yeah, just like, comment, subscribe on this. Let us know what y'all think about it. I'll see y'all on the next video. Y'all have a good day.